Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman. This is episode 272, recording on August 16th. You're watching it on the 17th or later. We've got more financials to talk about, and dear God, make the Battle Royale stop! And also a little bit of a first look review. But to cover all of that fun stuff with me, let's introduce the hosts. First up, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
Hold on a minute, I'm still setting up my tabs. Bring up all the articles.
Set up your tabs.
I get pretty slow here in my prison cell.
You're right. Right. Also,
actually, no, we get really well. Some of us in this place get really fast internet. Some of us don't get quite as much. But...
Uh-oh. A little trouble in paradise over the internet connection. The most common reason for divorce nowadays.
Yeah, that's right.
Also on the line, Quitland Bowers. What's up, Q?
I'm telling you, hardwire. And also, I don't know, after that Miracle Whip Mayo argument on Twitter today, apparently Miracle Whip is encouraging divorces between people who happen to like one or the other, but not the same.
Oh, God.
They've even got a hotline for you to call.
Mayonnaise is terrible for you, but tasty, and Miracle Whip tastes like melted plastic. That's all I have to say.
Mayonnaise tastes exactly like what it is.
Yeah, fat.
Eggs, oil, and vinegar.
Yeah, that's just add some fat to food that didn't have fat in it. So.
You know, the only thing I ever really hilariously liked mayo on, was fried egg sandwiches when I was a kid.
Well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That goes with the whole egg salad type thing.
You just
that
never
right.
thought about it.
That
you just never thought about the fact that you were putting more eggs
and
oil on your eggs and oil.
Let's grease up and lather these eggs. Jason couldn't care less. It's just like, whatever.
Well, I mean, I like the greasing up and lathering part, but
wow. Okay.
This is gonna be an entirely new show if we head in that direction. So let's get started with the news. All right. Speaking of lathering in money, NCSoft, maybe not so much, but all in all, it could have been worse, could have been better. Not really much to say. We did Nexon's last show, Nexon's financials, and they kind of were like, "Oh shit, previous quarter was awesome. This quarter not so much." Where NCSoft just kind of down a little bit, Jason, but pretty on par. And they didn't have any big releases or expansions or anything. So I think this is kind of what everybody expected, right?
Yeah, in fact, there was about a month ago, we had an article from some investing firm or whatever in Korea, which was actually estimating what they thought their total was going to be. They said around 400,000 million Korean won, 400 billion Korean won, however you want to say it. It actually turned out to be 436 instead of 400. So, yeah, it's not like it was a super bold prediction. Yeah, they just thought it was going to be down a little bit. It was actually, 457 last quarter. So down from 457 to 436 in a month or in a quarter where you don't have any big releases. Just about everything kind of went down a little bit, like about 10 to 20%. But I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, and it was a lot of that was just kind of counterbalanced by an increase in advertising. So it's like almost, hey, yeah, you were down a little bit because particularly on the mobile side of things. Right, with Lineage M, they just blew the advertising budget out of the water for that game, and it really just kind of stayed on par with what the
they
rest
need to
of
open
the
another
company.
53 servers or whatever it is you do with a mobile game when it's
right.
Get those leaderboards built up.
Q of special interest to you and I, considering that Jason couldn't care less about this game. Ion still continues to do relatively well, outperforming what it did in 2017 even, and with rumors of a potential sequel, different MMORPG in the same universe. Some MMORPG project having to do with Ion in some way in the works. I think Ion's in a pretty good place.
Yeah, hilariously, I was actually thinking about yesterday, the day before something, talking to somebody about Ion, and I was just like, I really miss it, and I'm sitting there thinking, maybe I should actually jump back into it. So
yeah, I do that occasionally with this one too, but I don't.
It's
I
like
never
sometimes you
stick
miss your
long.
wings.
Right. Your wings that let you fly, but not fly, but kind of fly, but.
Oh, we're not getting into that again. You guys ripped me a new one while I tried talking about that.
I liked the system, so once I figured it out how to glide fly, I was totally fine with it.
Since we don't have a ton of news on this one, we didn't bring it up a couple of weeks ago on the cast, but since we're talking about Ion, your thoughts on a potential Ion sequel, which hasn't been a secret. We've known that they've been working on something Ion related, potentially a sequel, for like a year and a half now, but they just kind of again confirmed it recently. Your thoughts? Excited? Something you're looking forward to? Would you want to see a direct sequel, or do you want to just see something in that world? What are you looking for, Q?
I just really, really, really hope it's not a case of, like Secret World Legends or Defiance 2050.
No.
I hope it's not the same game, just redone.
No, I don't think they would ever do that.
That's what I hope it is not. But I mean, yeah, I would definitely hop in. I was really liked it, and back when it was made, it was a super pretty game for the time and everything, which is always a plus for me. I was actually kind of mad when they were localizing the quests and found out that they actually changed a lot of the lore to make it more appealing to Western audiences because we just wouldn't understand the Asian stories. And it's like, really, dude?
Yeah,
this was 2008, 2009. I could sort of see it then.
Right, but what they didn't change was all the feedback that the Western audience gave that was like, this is a grind fest and we don't like that.
Yeah,
they left that.
Let's change the story because the Western audience might not understand how to read.
Jason, I am hopeful that they have, obviously they've learned that lesson to an extent with the changes that they've made in Ion with fast track servers and some changes they've made to the whole grinding process. Still a bit of a grind in some certain level brackets, but a lot better than it was at launch. Hopefully they carry those lessons into an Ion 2 or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, for whatever other issues people have with the game, I haven't heard that kind of thing about something like Blade and Soul. Which is a little more recent and obviously came out in North America later. So, yeah, I mean, I think NCSoft at least understands a little better now the difference between the two markets. And I was just going to point out, got my big spreadsheet open here, and I didn't realize how big Ion was when it first came out.
Yeah.
It actually, for its first 13 quarters, it was their top game for 12 of those quarters.
Wow. But how many people were sitting there going, we were promised flight? Because they didn't listen to anything the devs said on the way up to release.
Because you didn't care that much.
I like looking at the
I heard
charts.
flight.
I like looking at the charts here and just seeing that mobile's numbers just look stupid compared to everything else. 39,000, 19,000, 10,000, 35,000, 15,000, 551,000.
That's going a few quarters back, yeah.
Yeah, that's a few quarters back. The most recent quarter was only 209,000.
Yeah, and even that was about 95% of what they made total as a company like 2 years ago.
Right.
Just the mobile.
We should point out that anybody who looks at this article, don't just look at the height of the bars.
Yeah.
Because that will throw you way, way, way off.
So I let you talk Ion, so Jason, it's only fair if I turn it over to you and let you talk Guild Wars 2, which, again, not in a stellar position, trending in the negative still. Not by a lot, but definitely down over 2 quarters ago when we had, our expansion come out, and kind of heading right back into where it was second quarter 2017. Still a little bit above that, but trending in the wrong direction again.
We talked about this too with the last expansion, how it really did really well for like a quarter and a half, like a quarter and 2 months. So like 5 months basically where it did really well.
Right.
And then it really dropped off. This one for Path of Fire, it seems like it didn't have quite the high peak, but it's not dropping down quite as hard. Like the last, because it came out about a week before the end of the previous quarter.
Right, but doesn't that stand to reason? If the peak isn't as high, then the drop isn't as far?
Well, I'm saying even it's right now, it's at about the same point where Path of Fire was, in terms of like time afterwards. and it's about 25% higher than it was than what Path of Fire, the post Path of Fire quarter was for that same thing. So it is higher now than any of the quarters after Path of Fire up till the launch of the new expansion. So,
anybody care to make a WildStar prediction? Sure to go wrong. This thing's just been
WildStar's still a thing?
It's still a thing.
Apparently, they just never talk about it.
They don't. It's listed in their financials under other games. So it's in like this category of stuff they don't have categorized anymore.
Does WildStar even talk about itself? When's the last time we heard news about them?
I haven't seen anybody talk about it in forever. That's why I was half joking when I asked, but not completely.
They actually tweeted 52 minutes ago. So apparently...
Yeah, and if you read it, it's about the same thing it always is. So I periodically, like once a week or so, check WildStar because I do enjoy the game. I haven't played it in a long time at this point, me and many others, but I am always, that's one of the sites that I always jump onto to see if there's any news, and it's always just the same things. It's events that have already been recycled and usually are things related to like dressing up houses and housing renovation. Is a big event that's recycled, and I think that's the tweet that, Jason, you're referencing. They're just talking about somebody coming on to do a stream of housing renovation stuff and sales on different mounts in the cash shop. I mean, that is all I ever see out of WildStar.
Double XP weekend, apparently.
That makes me sad. Well, I say that, and my game of preference is pretty much in the same state right now. So. Our last big deal that we had was
for Secret World Legends, right?
Yeah, the last big thing we did was they had a special event to honor a girl who died. So, I mean,
at least that occasionally gets new content, right? Doesn't Legends?
We just got new content that lasted an hour. I streamed it. It took me an hour to do it.
Wow.
So.
That's more than what WildStar's gotten this year, I think.
Now, we're not going to go into huge detail here with financials because the company's just too damn big, but since we're talking about financials, Jason, we also got Tencent's financials. And first off, everybody that listens to this show, right? If you're listening to an MMO podcast, you're generally in the know about these particular companies. And we all know how massively huge Tencent is and all the fingers in different pies, Riot Games, and this company, and this company, and this company, and this company, and this company. We all know how big they are. But I don't think we stop to appreciate exactly how big sometimes. So you kind of put it into a nice perspective using something that Western audiences are generally going to be familiar with in Blizzard, right?
Yeah, Activision Blizzard, in fact.
Activision Blizzard, so the bigger parent umbrella, not just the Blizzard umbrella. And how did they do?
So they also did their financials about a week and a half ago. And, the Blizzard's got, World of Warcraft and, Overwatch and all that stuff. And Activision has all of its stuff. And
the Call of Duty and whatever.
Yeah, really big stuff. And they had revenues over the quarter of $1.641 billion.
That's a lot of dollars, Q. A lot of dollars.
It's more than I got.
Right. It's heading towards the $2 billion mark. That's a lot of dollars. That's a big company. Everybody knows they're big. Tencent, how'd they do?
One thing real quick, though. I'm just doing this. Okay. Just by comparison, NCSoft, I just typed in their numbers. They brought in $186 million over the quarter. So you got, that's about 7 or 8 times, about five or 6 times bigger, maybe Blizzard is than NCSoft. So
wow, you really don't think of NCSoft being that small now that I think think it.
Yeah, I know. Still
obviously, they're still a huge company with all those games, and then you think Blizzard Active. It makes sense.
Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. That was just their mobile money. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that really seems small.
Yeah, their total was $387 million. Okay, so still, Blizzard has got about 4 or 5 times bigger than that.
Yeah, okay, but it's still tiny compared to. Yeah. But then, I guess when you think about it, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, these are monster franchises. And as big as Lineage might be in the East, it's just not competing. So, okay, I guess it kind of makes sense. I just didn't think it'd be that much smaller. On the flip side of that, you really wouldn't call Activision Blizz small.
No.
Until you put them up against Tencent's numbers.
Yeah, again, to remind us, $1.641 billion for Activision Blizzard. Tencent, $11.135 billion in revenue over the last quarter.
Good grief.
So that is just about 7 times more.
Okay, so here's the question. Well, the things we have to know. One, part of Tencent's pie is Blizzard Activision.
Right.
Right. And Riot and Hi-Rez and God knows who else, some Canadian companies and whatever. But another is, are they including the non-gaming stuff in their thing? The stuff where they're part of China's surveillance, social media thing and all of that. See, that's a whole different ballgame then. Like, if they took that stuff out,
Yeah, I mean, that would be the company's financials, so their total picture, not just their stuff in game.
Right. So, I mean, but it's, yeah, they're just so huge that they're basically Tencent is the Taco Bell of games. All game companies are Tencent.
I'm just looking at their continued investments on Wiki, and you know what? There's just way too much here to talk about. This company is so huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
They have over 1 billion people on their social app networking thing.
Oh,
God. 1 billion.
Oh, the one that they run for China? That thing?
Yeah.
Massive. And mobile, a big part for Tencent too, as well as NCSoft. And we can see why. You know, mobile games, little addictive. Q, you might want to, spend a couple bucks here and there, type deal. Get your Game of War on maybe, and shell out a couple dollars,
I have spent money on mobile games.
Let me ask you this: have you spent $89,000 on mobile games?
I have not spent because if I had $89,000 to spend, my student loans would be paid off.
Let me ask you this, Jason. Have you not only spent $89,000 on a mobile game, but have you spent $89,000 of taxpayer public money on mobile games?
I don't think I've spent $89,000 total in my life. No, I probably haven't.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I've got somebody for you, a former librarian who did exactly that. Spent $89,000 in public money on Game of War, and you gotta check this out. This wasn't just he had access to cash this was here's what he did. He used city credit cards to purchase gift cards from Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, those types of things. Then used those to buy Amazon coins, and that's their virtual currency, that can then be used to buy apps from Amazon to make in-game or in-app purchases, including Game of War. This is like 5 steps of laundering, Jason. Started with a city credit card, went through 5 steps. I guess, okay, you didn't want it showing up on the receipt, just using the numbers and having it come up Game of War on the city's bill when they got it. Okay, fine. Might be a little easier to hide gift card purchases on a city ledger as far as events and things the city might be doing. But this was 5 steps to get 89 grand. 89 grand, Jason.
No, I think what you do is you go ahead and you do that on the receipt, and you just say, no, really, that's like the sequel to Sun Tzu's Art of War. We're getting a lot of copies for the library, Game of War.
Well, see, that would have been not exactly that, right? But I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, they could have bought books, right? And then returned the books for cash back. That it would show on the receipt that they had bought books with that money. But my biggest question is, I've worked in a library before, and I don't think our librarians had access to the city credit cards.
Well,
I think that'll be changing in Logan, Utah.
Normally, for you to get money from the city to buy books, you have to submit a thing saying we need X amount of money, or basically we need you to purchase this stuff for us.
Right. So I think the headline labeling this employee, and he has a name and it's publicly available. I'm not going to justify it and bring it here. He calling him a librarian, I think, was snazzy for the headline. technically he was a director at the North Logan City Library for like 3 years there. So this is more an administrative position with access to coffers and fiduciary responsibilities and things like that. Not somebody sitting at the library helping people check out books. So a little clicky on the headline, but the point of it, I think, is still there. 80.
So that's where all my late fees go, huh?
3 years, by the way. 3 years. Now, I don't know how long it took him to spend that amount, but he was only in that position for about 3 years.
Oh, it doesn't take long to spend money at all.
Especially when it's not yours, right?
Well, exactly. But it just literally doesn't take that long to spend money. I mean, think about how quickly your paychecks disappear.
Here's the best part of this, Q. He pled guilty to theft and forgery in June, agreed to pay $78,000 in restitution in advance. In advance. The dude had just... Hey, here's 78... Wait a minute.
So,
if you had...
Did he actually spend the $89,000, or did he just...
I don't know. So he agreed to pay $78,000. Now I know that doesn't mean he cut them a check right on the spot, but when you're agreeing to that ahead of time, there is normally a payment plan already set up. So he agreed to that ahead of time as part of like a negotiated plea. So that probably helped him avoid a ton of prison time. Needs 100 hours of community service, and hey, surprise, Jason, he'll be barred from having any fiduciary responsibilities in the future.
Shock.
Not barred from being hired by the city, just barred from having any fiduciary responsibilities. He's no longer in the position. He did resign 3 months after he was put on administrative leave, so... Oh, man. I wonder if can they claim that on the taxes? I have no idea how that's going to work for a city. But that is one city that now has a monster Game of War account. Look out for Utah when you're going up against other clans. Look out for this Utah.
North Logan, Utah.
North Logan, Utah. Thank you. Yeah. So, wow. Yipes. Speaking of yipes, oh my god. So, I want to start with the smaller of the two here. We've talked about Battle Right getting the Battle Right Royale treatment on this show. And then we briefly mentioned on a previous show that they were jumping it to its own standalone product. We've seen our first little like gameplay trailer, Jason, and I got to get your opinion. I really don't care for it. Personally, I enjoy Battle Right. I like the isometric, the whole concept there. To me, the game was already kind of a battle royale, just on a smaller team scale. I mean, even to the point of the area closing in on you. So this kind of seems really shoehorned, and I said as much on previous shows. But I wasn't really all that impressed with the gameplay video for a game we'll be seeing come through testing in the next month or so.
Well, you got it down to a battle royale is just like a large death match. We've had death matches, since the beginning of time. But
literally, check out the Crusades.
Well, sure. I'm trying to remember though. I don't remember when I watched the video. I'm trying to remember. Did you actually you go down as a character, right? You don't necessarily search for weapons and so on like you would normally in a normal battle royale. It didn't seem like that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them like skydiving into they were jumping off of like fucking Falcor from the Never-Ending Story.
That's what I thought of actually when I saw.
Did you?
Falcor didn't have wings,
right? Or a house on his back. He didn't have that either. But still badass. Love Falcor.
But but based on that, I mean, it does just seem like it's there are some sort of things you pick up around there, maybe.
Yeah, there are looty things. I don't know what they are. I haven't played the game myself yet, but I think in the trailer they showed one person explode and a bunch of, looty, picky-uppy things were on the ground there.
But like you said, it does look like Battle Right, just with a few extra bits thrown in. So
yeah, and a much bigger area, rather than the 5v5 or 3v3 arena sizes. Q, we were all kind of lukewarm at best on this one. Has this gameplay trailer changed your opinion at all?
It's honestly another battle royale. So, I'm kind of to the point. I think we're reaching kind of like. I get it. I understand it, guys. Battle royales are really popular, but it's like MMO companies back in the day trying to steal players from WoW. They're going to pop over, check out your game, and go right back where they were.
Yeah, just look at what we were talking pre-show in Realm Royale. You had mentioned that Realm Royale kind of catastrophically hemorrhaging players, but your point was 90% of those were probably BR fans who, this was the next thing, let's go check it out. Okay, back to Fortnite.
Exactly. So, I mean... I guess it's a nice little thing to tack onto your game or whatever, but it's just, I'm kind of the opinion they should do what they want to do with their game instead of just tacking on, whatever the latest hot thing is.
It seems like this trend is like going down quicker than most other ones have. Like when we had CCGs or MOBAs or whatever. We're not even a year since Fortnite Battle Royale came out, so...
Yeah, and it just gets worse. Battle Right, at least it had kind of BR concepts in it already, so you can kind of say, all right, they're maybe trend chasing, but they're not straying from their overall vision all that much. This kind of makes sense even if I wouldn't play it. But then we got news today that our friends over at my.com will be releasing a Battle Royale as well. And it will be a standalone game. It'll be included in a launcher for something else, but a little standalone. So you think, all right, my.com, that's awesome. What did they get? No. It's a Skyforge Battle Royale. You know that MMORPG queue that just totally revamped the shit out of its own PvP, right? Like, just totally revamped the entire PvP experience in the game.
And let's tack on some Battle Royale, but as a separate thing that nobody has to be invested in our other game to play.
Right, it's going to be in the Sky.
And describe it in ways that make it sound almost more like a MOBA.
Yeah, so it was announced today. It's going to be out on the PC on August 28th, so 2 weeks. PlayStation 4 August 29th and Xbox One August 30th.
And how weird does that roll out?
Yeah, that is
like,
weird.
Why not just drop them all on the 30th and be done with it?
Staffing, I don't know. Wait, what's the dates? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so whatever. I'm going to be honest with this one. I can't even sugarcoat this, Jason. I watched the trailer. First off, when I read the article, I was like, come on. This is an MMORPG. You also just totally revamped your in-game PvP. Now you're tacking a Battle Royale onto the launcher for this MMORPG. Doesn't require that you play Skyforge at all. Your character has nothing in Skyforge, has nothing to do with Skyforge Battle Royale at all. And by the way, the whole point, let's think back. The whole point of Skyforge was you were an immortal, unbeatable god. Something that lends well to Last Man Standing, lore-wise, from a lore perspective.
but in that game, in the Battle Royale, it's
I know.
Yeah, it stated that you were not immortal.
Yeah, it's its own different
taking away the immortality. So
you can have classes and skills typical to Skyforge, but not quite that. You're going to have an ungodly amount of customization and strategies to explore, is what they've said. And I got to be honest, I can't sugarcoat this. I watched the trailer and I was like, this is hot garbage.
You said you have skills that are typical of the Skyforge. And I'm like, I watched that and I saw guys with guns and one guy with a bow.
Hey, I'm looking at the presser, brother. I didn't say that stuff. Yeah, I mean, you watch the trailer. They're running around with shotguns and rifles.
Yeah, it's like I had cryomancer.
And to be fair, there is some of that in Skyforge, some shooty weaponry.
Yeah, there are a few guns here and there, but I didn't see anything that looked like it was anything more than guns and shooting and guns and a bow. And like a little landmine is one place. Also,
that was almost a song.
Guns and guns and guns and a bow. And also, can I just say that I don't know what the hell they were doing with the voiceover in that trailer?
Oh my god, it was awful.
Trying to do some sort of GLaDOS type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it was an awful GLaDOS impersonation, and it was just like, hey, look. Not only are you ripping off Battle Royale, but you're just jumping under the cliche of homicidal, sarcastic robot that we've seen in all of these Battle Royale. Hell, we even saw that in Radical Heights, right? The sarcastic game show announcer, the sarcastic this announcer in this game. The whole trailer just looked like hot garbage to me, and unfortunately, we're going to have to check it out for a first look, Jason. But I'm not looking forward to it. So I give it a huge thumbs down, Jason. What do you give it?
I give it a. Can I go lower than a thumbs down? I have like a third thumb or something. Here, use some T-Rex thumbs down.
Cute.
I mean, again, it's another battle royale, and it's just something that's tacked onto the launcher. Holy crap! I can't speak English anymore.
Are they just desperate? Do you think Skyforge is feeling that bad to like do something very fast to make money?
I almost like it. Really, all of this really does feel like back in the day when everybody's like, "We're making the next WoW killer." Only now it's like we're trying to take on something that isn't even what we do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you totally just revamped PvP in your MMORPG. Who was working on it? Launches in 2 weeks. Who was working on this, and for how long that we're just now hearing about it at all? This wasn't even like a rumor.
Some guy named Eddie.
This wasn't even like a behind-the-scenes rumor that the three of us knew about, but weren't. This wasn't something that was under embargo that we've known about for a month or two and we couldn't talk about or anything. It just was like, hey, here's a presser. Oh, you're doing what? Oh, you've got to fucking be kidding me.
Curious, is my.com publicly traded? Do they have investor relations?
What a mess. All right, finishing up before we head over to the bombs, let's talk Quake Champions, because that game, as of QuakeCon, I guess, a couple of days ago, went free to play, and it's always kind of been free to play in the way that Killer Instinct for Windows 10 was free to play. Like, we'll give you one character and you can play as much as you want with that one character, but that's it. And now that they're in early access, they've completely gone free to play. They have changed it up a bit. You have a little bit more, a few more character options. I think if you watch the first look, there were 2 and a third that was on rotation, so that third might change. Big change free to play wise, though, Jason, was you are able to unlock characters permanently through in-game play now. It's not just buying them, and it's not just a rental thing anyway. You can buy them. From what Troy did in the first look, it seems like there might be a bit of an excessive grind in that, but it can be done. We've got loot boxes, but other than that basic stuff, you got Quake. And a lot of people bought into this because it's frickin' Quake. And it is well done. There's some optimization issues, but they're in early access. I have absolute faith in this particular company that they will work through that stuff. This isn't my.com, where I think if they have optimization issues, the game's just going to always have optimization issues. And this has got to be good news for people that love Quake Champions, because the audience was suffering big time. And of course, if you really do like it, you can shell out $30 and get all the champions from here to eternity, just like you do with Smite and other games like that. All in all, besides the loot boxes, which I think are stupid and I think are probably a relic of this has been out and in the world for people to play since before the loot box shit started hitting the fan. I don't think if they started now that they would be as prevalent as they are in the game. But all in all, I think this is good news. Maybe drop the grind a little bit, but it looked good. It ran smoothly when I played it. A couple frame issues here and there, but I'm not good at it. There is a high curve. I kind of liken this, Jason, and I want your opinion on this. This is what Lawbreakers should have been. If you want a high ceiling for skill curve, fine. But you've got to open up the audience as big as possible, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking of Lawbreakers exactly as I was watching Troy's first look. So yeah, we're right there. Also, it helps to have a very famous 20-something-year-old, property.
That'll help. That'll help.
And not just rely on some developer who used to be famous like 10 years ago and is just whatever now. Yeah, he is, let's face it. But yeah, I mean...
He was unabashedly not sorry for that comment.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, I looked at the numbers on Steam charts too of how they were doing before they did that free-to-play thing a couple months ago where it was free and you could download it. If you download it on that day, it was free forever.
Right.
And it increased by like a factor of almost 10.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the players. and it's come down some since then. It's down to like about 2,500, average now, when it was trending around like 300-400 before that. So yeah, it definitely was a good move of theirs to try and to finally do this. They said they were going to do it once they exited early access. They were going to go into their free-to-play mode. And apparently they just changed that. They changed the free-to-play, according to Troy's video, just in June or July was when they added the extra character, gave you the ability to buy them now.
Well, yeah, to the point that not just us having a little bit of error in the reporting, but even some of the big dog sites that reported on this that same day had the free-to-play options listed the same way we did. Which is with it was funny. They released, hey, it's free-to-play, but they didn't put any notice in there about all the free-to-play stuff that changed. So we said, all right, this is going to be the same model. So little error. We went and updated it.
I mean, they might have had a press release that included that, again, like 2 months ago, but they probably should have reiterated it here. So whatever.
Definitely. But I think it's good overall for the game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Although, like I said, you talk about that. I think Troy had he said he played about a dozen matches, and he had 20,000 currency. And the new character he looked at would cost 200,000. So
yeah,
that's over 100 matches maybe to get there.
Yeah, Q, they're gonna have to do something about that. I don't think they can leave it like that.
No, not if they actually want people to be able to get the characters.
That's a question. Do they want them to even do that?
That is a question. They may want to really encourage you to buy instead of get them, by just working your butt off in game. And then there's those people that I don't know. They can just go. They get in there and they just go, and it's just insane to watch the way some people can level and accrue stuff in games.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a Smite, a League of Legends, a Dota. Q, you're right on. There are people that are sitting there waiting for the next champ to come out because they've just farmed it up and everything's unlocked. That's insane to me. But I think they're doing this the right way. Even if I don't like, as a free player, the grind to get the characters and the loot boxes, I think they're following the best model they could without having to sacrifice the skill ceiling that they wanted in the game that Quake is known for, and that's to follow, the Smite type model, where, hey, it's going to take you a while to grind these things up. You can buy them individually, or, hey, toss us $30, and you know what? You're never going to have to worry about it again. But in the meantime, play as much as you want. I think that's literally the best they could do, and it's the right way to go, Q.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like when they give you that kind of option. And again, you're right about, they do want that kind of difficulty curve because it is Quake. It's not supposed to be super easy and you get everything at once and all of this stuff. If you're cranking stuff out, that you are elite, and that's kind of the point of the game. So
It wouldn't be Quake any other way, Jason. Just I hate the loot boxes. The loot boxes got to go.
Well, yeah. That has nothing to do with the Quake heritage or whatever.
Right. That's just got to go. That's just got to go. All right, let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. I'm going to go first this week. I want to give a dub bomb to Hearthstone's badass Rube Goldberg device for their new expansion. There was shit exploding all over the place. If you haven't checked it out, Jason posted it and included the video on MMOBomb. I'm a sucker for those things anyway, and Jason, it was nice to see in chat that you're a sucker for those types of things as well. And this one was pretty cool. Took up the entire damn room, was very impressive. Well done. And I always want to see, behind the scenes, how many takes it actually takes to get them. Because theirs was one continuous shot. I couldn't detect any edits. And the camera was in motion pretty much the entire time, so it was impressive, but wonder how many takes it took.
Did they get OK Go to help them with it?
That's
right. Go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I'm going to give an A-bomb to Blue Fan number 1. That's the fan of mine in my computer that decided that it's not even going to make any noise and let me know that it's dying. It's just going to quietly stop, and I don't figure it out until I smell electronic heat coming from the computer.
God, no. I like that it has a name, Blue Fan number 1.
It's Blue Fan number 1, because Blue Fans number 2 and 3 are on the front, and then there's Black Fan on the top.
Go ahead, Jason.
Maybe your computer, maybe your fans are treating your computer like a battle royale. Only one can survive.
Only one fan gets to live.
Yeah,
Blue Fan number 1 is the oldest, so.
Bad reaction time. Couldn't handle the shooter aspect. I know how that is. All right, I'm going to give an A-bomb to Royale. Giving my computer the first blue screen of death I've had in like a year and a half since I had to reinstall Windows 7 a while back. Then when I finally got into the game, I sucked really bad, and which is probably my fault. But A-bomb to Royale anyway for that.
It's the game's fault.
It's totally the game's fault.
I used to. Oh, this is embarrassing. So growing up, we had regular Nintendo, and we got my grandmother got it from my mom for her birthday, and it just arrived in the mail. My grandmother lived in California, and we lived in Ohio at the time, and it just arrived. And I don't know what my grandmother was thinking that like my mom would like this. We had Atari, and my dad would take it out of the closet, play it for a night, and then put it away type deal. But apparently my grandmother liked watching her grandkids that lived there play, and so she bought this for my mom. And so my dad and I loved it, right? And Legend of Zelda is the big one at the time that we used to play. Big console model, a floor model Zenith TV with Legend of Zelda. Sitting on the floor, and we turn the volume down and have different records playing or whatever, listening to music while we played. But when I was younger, I had a nasty temper. That got put into check by my parents very quickly, mind you. And I used to be convinced that the Nintendo knew that it was me. Because, shut up! This is embarrassing.
Because, let it all out, Mike.
Okay, in level 5, dungeon number 5, in the first quest of Zelda, there's 2 rooms in sequence to get to the flute that you need for the boss. And in both of those rooms are the blue knights that take, depending on the sword, you have anywhere from 2 to 8 hits. Typically 4 if you have the white sword at that point. Yeah, I remember this shit. And they have the erratic pattern and everything. And they wreck you if you're just wearing your basic tunic and everything. It's challenging. 2 rooms back to back to do it. And my dad could stormtrooper those 2 rooms. And he just run in, pew, 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 bam, move to the next one, bam, 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 got the flute. Anytime I did it, they just swamped me. They destroyed me. And I was convinced. And I would yell, "It knows it's me!" and spike the damn Nintendo controller. That lasted like 2 or 3 times max before the mom was like, no. Obviously, it doesn't know it's you. But I was convinced as this kid that little box knew it was my dad playing. And so it made it easier for him than it did for me. So I agree with you, Jason. A-bomb for games that I suck at because it's not my fault. It's the game. I can stormtroop those 2 rooms now. I'm a pro at them.
Sure.
From the viewers, Rusi says, Sir Pika Jason Winter, white suits you, sir. Also, this cast was so short. I can listen to you guys talk about MMOs all day. Well, we certainly appreciate that, and we'd like to talk about them all day, but some weeks, there just ain't a lot to talk about. And Jason, they like your jail cell.
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead, take the next one, sir.
So we're going to do a 24-hour stream?
There you go.
In the jail cell?
Yeah, from a jail cell. Yamikami says also, A-bomb for the free-to-play cast. Yes, that is you guys. A-bomb for not getting my joke, though I admit it has been 2 weeks. The point was, after the question of the week, how to spice up the Battle Royale genre, I wrote a comment in which I presented the game as all the worst AAA tropes like microtransactions and loot boxes as card packs. So
yeah.
Quake Champions.
We got it.
Yeah.
We got the joke.
Noobfridge said I get a job for offer from EA, and magicman said I get shut down. So I followed up with another post, this time featuring the worst of the worst indie Kickstarter bullshit.
Star Citizen, we got that
one.
Yeah,
Star Citizen, I got that.
I'm pretty sure I said Star Citizen, didn't I?
Yeah. And the no refunds was a joke on the guy who sued Star Citizen Company because of his short lifespan. And because the gun seller in Borderlands like to say that too. Oh well, does anyone even care? Still reading this? No? Okay. I was reading it, Yamikami.
Yeah, we were with you the entire way. We got all the references. We got all the jokes. And speaking of, didn't I see an article, Jason, where a judge did deny refunds?
I don't even know. I can't keep up with all the Star Citizen drama. I just can't.
I just had an idea. A soap opera just designed around Star Citizen.
A judge, this was a day ago, yeah. This is from Massively OP, is the one I clicked on here. Judge has mostly denied Star Citizen Studios' motion to dismiss the Crytek copyright lawsuit. That's not the suit I was talking about. That's not what I wanted, Mike. Yesterday. That's not what I wanted. Anyway, whatever. Go ahead, Q. Take the next one.
Krobus, could you try a Q3D, please? Who?
Any of us. We have. I have. Jason, I think you have, too.
No,
Adventure Quest 3D. I did some interviews with them and did some playing before it launched and everything. I think I did a first look for it, actually. Yeah, so Adventure Quest 3D, MMOBomb. Yep, it's got a first look for it, so check it out. I mean, it's not generally a lot there to check out. It's pretty, I don't want to say simplistic, because it can be complex, but it's easy to pick up. Okay. From Joshua Knight, an A-bomb goes to Philip Muchin, who recently was a staff member at IGN, and you guys got mad at me for making this comment last week. You, Jason and Q. I can accept the fact that he's sorry that he stole someone else's review, but he then uploaded a video on his channel refusing to acknowledge he committed plagiarism. Jason, you had shared that with us when it happened. Mm-hmm. I'm a university student. If I plagiarize as part of an assessment, I not only get a 0 on the assessment, but I face expulsion from my university course. Pretty standard rules. Given he seems like an educated person, there's absolutely no excuse for stealing from another reviewer, and then, when caught, refusing to acknowledge that's what he did. Dub-Omb to League of Legends, recently got back into it with a few friends, having an absolute blast. Also, Dub-Omb to WoW Battle for Azeroth coming out in a few days. Can't wait. I haven't been able to log in once yet. And not to say that there's problems, I just haven't had time to log in. The game's working fine. It's not login issues. Yeah, Jason, you and I had some thoughts about this one too. More so, not only that you did it, but the same thing that Slash Coon's saying is, okay, you did it, you got caught, or Joshua Knight saying, you got caught, either just shut up and go away and disappear for a while, or just acknowledge it and apologize and try to move on as best you can. Like, what you did was the worst of all the options you had, was to post a video saying, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. And then we're finding out there's probably
you did it
more.
A lot.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's not there's probably more. IGN has been removing post after post after post. They're trying to figure out what they can salvage from what he put up during his time there.
Jason, weren't there allegations that he did it to his own fellow IGN staff members?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best part of all is he challenged people to find. If you can think you find more, go ahead. And of course, people have found a lot more. So yeah, I mean,
maybe he just doesn't understand what plagiarizing is. Maybe he doesn't know the definition of the word.
Look, if it's a 1,000-word article and I change one of them, it's not plagiarism. Totally not.
I wonder what his high school English teacher thinks.
Yeah, see, and I made a joke about it last week, and you guys got all snippy with me. I thought it was funny.
Dude, now if we're actually talking about trying to remember things, I don't remember what goes on in like the previous cast. Like, I
really don't. I do remember.
I don't.
I think we both went or something like that.
Yeah, you gave me the. Oh God. I mean, I don't believe he said that.
I've read old articles that I've written and I've gone.
I think it was because the way you said it sounded more like a dig at IGN than specifically that guy.
No.
I think that's why we both kind of like looked shocked because we felt bad for
IGN. Somebody, by the way, posted a sidebar again. A little tangent here. Somebody posted on an article. I forget what it was. Just basic news about something, and they were pissed because we didn't have news posted about something else. And they said, oh, this site, you don't have the news that I'm looking for. IGN is all over it and has this. Had this news and you didn't, or you did, but it was a few hours later, or whatever. And I just thought to myself, and I didn't say anything in the comments because somebody else, an actual commenter, said what I was going to say anyway. But it's just like, wait a minute, you're going to compare a 3-person
outfit
daily, right? There's 5 on staff plus our owner, but there's 3 of us here daily. The 3 of us on this cast writing shit and posting videos and all that. You're going to compare that and a site that only covers free to play to IGN, a site with a big staff that covers everything, and say that they have more news than we do. I would hope so. I would just hope so. I would hope so. But anyway, to make the Q, you're right. I wasn't taking a dig at IGN. Just the 3 of us, I even keep it smaller like this. Jason does a first look. He sends it to me. I watch it. Looks good. I do the final editing. I render it. I put it up, post it, get it all pretty and everything. And it's up there. As a site, if Jason plagiarized in that, I don't think that's on the site. That relies on me as the editor getting his copy and also being aware of the original source. And if I haven't seen the original video, and I trust Jason and his work, which I do, I'm going to put that up. That's not MMOBomb's fault at that point, provided when it is brought to our attention, we strip it down and we go back to Jason and we fix this issue, whether that's Jason go away or Jason's not going to do first looks anymore, whatever it is. And IGN acted appropriately across the board in my book and bears no blame for this. Where it gets a little gray for me, Q, is when somebody is plagiarizing your own site's work.
Yeah,
I do expect you to be a little more cognizant of, didn't we cover that?
So here's the thing, though. He was an editor.
Right.
So I don't know that his work was going through anybody else specifically. Right. It's just like, well, he's an editor.
IGN, to me, is doing the right thing, and they have from minute one, Jason.
When I worked for a magazine, anybody with the title of editor still had their stuff checked by another editor, and I would think IGN's big enough that they would handle that. So
yeah, but I mean, we don't know for sure.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know theirs, but
it could just be they trusted him to go ahead with stuff, and they just let him do it.
Yeah, and even Jason and Jason, his bigger pieces, he sends them to me to edit and stuff like that. If I'm typing something up, I'm the editor, but I still, Jason, can you go ahead and proof this? I've been staring at it for 2 hours while I type it. All 3 of us do it. We toss it back and forth. Hey, can I get another set of eyes on this? Again, that's our practice back. I think IGN's acting appropriately so far. Whose turn is it? We've been getting sidetracked today. So who was that?
I think it's my turn. That was you. It's my turn then.
It's your turn?
Yeah.
Whoever was complaining that this was only 45 minutes last week, congratulations.
There you go.
You have a longer show all day this week. All. Who? I can't even find that. Who said it? Oh, it was Rue C. So Rue, congratulations. You have a longer episode. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. Slash Coon says, we'll just drop an A-bomb on the people who are hyped for Air, it's Ascent Infinite Realm, to be a big hit while using similar graphics to Bless and most likely the same game engine. Won't expect much from it myself and waiting on more info for Moonlight Blade before I make a decision if it will be interesting or not. Still want to play Lost Ark, and if Torchlight Frontier is anything like it, I might try it out. I'll go with my personal opinion on something. It's like, if it's got similar graphics, use the same engine, I can deal with that as long as the gameplay is actually different. As long as they actually did something that doesn't make it a ridiculous grind or whatever the hell.
Right. So I'm not looking for Air to be groundbreaking. There's just some things in it that I'm interested in seeing and seeing what they do with them. Go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I like the theme of Air.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I'm interested in. Dracon, always fun to listen to you guys while grinding at games. Currently trying out Survived By.
Don't die. Permadeath's a bitch. Old Drunk Donkey, great name, had a tough couple of weeks and especially last few days, and then boom. This guy's on my screen. Love you bastards, and Q with kitties for always brightening my day. Old Drunk Donkey, glad we could help.
Where's the kitty? You had the kitty pre-show.
She was over here. She crossed over, but we do have Cheshire Cat.
Question of the week last week. Does the Torchlight announcement do anything for you? What are your hopes for the title? And will it be free to play? Yami Kami says, question of the week. I love Torchlight 1 and 2. Therefore, I would be happy for a third. However, make sure not to release it before I've played through Monster Hunter World. I think you have plenty of time, Yami. Yeah. You got 2019 as the effective release date for Torchlight. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, what about the early access and the pre-launch and the alpha?
Right.
Silkapex's question of the week. Hell yeah, give Torchlight to Papa. Nom nom nom.
I like the emotion you put into that, Jason.
I don't think you want to actually eat torches, though. It sounds like it'd be painful. Unless you're one of those like fire swallowers at the circus.
Maybe they're light eaters.
Go ahead, Q.
Acius, I like isometric ARPGs, and I wish there were more of them. But Torchlight series, as much as I wanted to like those games, and I really tried to like them, they were mostly bland and unfinished messes, making Diablo 3 look like a masterpiece. T1 was okay for a few hours before repetition kicked in. T2 was okay for a few more hours until the same happened. Even mods didn't help it too much. I've tried countless times to get back to T2. I feel like we're talking about Terminator. But it just feels bland. Combat has no kick like in D3, and while D3 managed to claw its way out to being a great game, Torchlight just died. And now instead of a fully realized sequel, we get what sounds like MU Online, Original 1 wannabe. I can't be excited about that, really. First thoughts are just how long will it take for Perfect World to kill the servers if the game cash shop doesn't sell?
And you know what? Some of that I can't really argue with. I was a bit more engaged with the gameplay than you, but you know, PWE in the mix, Jason, does always tend to make people a little iffy on what might happen with the cash shop. So some mixed opinions there. Question of the week this week. If you didn't know, Bethesda kind of poked Sony with a little bit of an ultimatum when it came to Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game that Sony must care about. I don't know. And basically gave him an ultimatum, Jason. Kind of said, if you're not going to do crossplay, then we're not going to put the game on your system. In not so many words, I'm not directly quoting, but that was the gist of it. Basically wanting Sony to get with the times and allow crossplay. So my thought was, first off, Jason, that really, who cares? It's Elder Scrolls Legends. Who cares whether it's on PlayStation or not? Sony may care, but I thought maybe this was setting up a little more for, hey, if we're willing to do it here, we might be willing to do it with Yay, kitty. Fallout 76, which might get Sony's attention a little more. But then we're hearing that Fallout 76 really doesn't, it's not intended to be cross-platform, so who knows? But the question of the week, will Bethesda's move to potentially exclude the PlayStation 4 from Legends game, but maybe more hinting at some Fallout 76 potentially being on the table, will that help push Sony to allow cross-platform play? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad, anything on gaming or in general. Your questions for the panel, put it all in the comments, and we'll put it on next week's show. Until then, Q, where can everybody find you and your kitty?
Well, the kitty they can find on my Instagram, which is also at Quintlin, and then Twitter at Quintlin, and then hanging out on Mixer sometimes at miscreation-q.
Sweet. Jason?
Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
Mike Byrne, a.k.a. did not set up that camera shot right. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me personally right there on Twitter at MagicMan1, but more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so you get all the tweets about the latest first looks, video games, news, articles, giveaways, and more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Now fade to title screen.